basically, let me lead off by saying I was really happy to think that it was the churches, in fact, we were told, that had a role to play in our former Prime Minister Jean Chrétien not going along with the coalition of the willing in terms of Iraq. So I think that's a positive thing, and that gave me a sense that things are possible. Why am I concerned? Well, I'm a Christian, and I take the biblical story very seriously, especially the Christian story. And if we know in the first 3 centuries of the church, militarism was not part of our faith journey at all. When you look at the story of Jesus especially, turn the other cheek. He who lives by the sword dies by the sword. Now you may not die violently by the sword, but you die in terms of your inner spirit, your inner personhood. And that's why I would appeal to all citizens of Canada to please take recognizance of the fact that we live now in a global village on this planet. And so what happens to one part of us affects another part of us. We have to realize that intimately. And if I'm not concerned about my brother and sister's welfare, then it's going to come back to haunt me. And again, as I suggest, if you look at the scriptures, the Sermon on the Mount, blessed are the peacemakers, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for justice. This is the essence of what Jesus was all about. His first task was not to get people first-class tickets to an afterlife. It was to live the reign of God within you and among you here and now. And that's the basic constitution of it, the Sermon on the Mount. Well, it seems to me that war resisters are much like what I would call the cloud of witnesses. For example, the ancient Israelites were led by day by a cloud and by night by a pillar of fire. Today, we have clouds of witnesses. These are the Dorothy Days, the Daniel Berrigans. These are the Thomas Berrys. These are the Mother Teresas, the Jean Vanniers. These, and so the war resisters. These are people who remind us of our story and remind us of our conscience necessity to own and live that story intimately. And then, of course, the other element is conscience. For me, the conscience, and even, believe it or not, Pope Benedict XVI recently said that conscience is ultimate. And even you must disobey the Pope if it means violating your conscience. That's how serious our tradition takes conscience. And hence I support those who do not want to fight in Iraq, because I've seen the results of folks coming home from Iraq. I was in the United States doing a bit of a lecture series, and I ran into 2 former, well, one was a Marine and the other was in the Army. One was Special Operations, the Army gentleman. The Marine had been 2 tours in Iraq. And he mentioned to me that 2 of his close friends committed suicide. It's not natural to kill. I mean, it's psychologically not natural. If it's natural for you, then you're a psychopath. So in long conversations with both of these former military gentlemen, one of them even went so far as to say it's evil. What we are doing is evil. We have the human right, if you will, is the freedom of religion, freedom of conviction, freedom of belief. We suggest that if you join the military, especially the Mounties, you can wear a turban if you are a Sikh, or you can have a dagger in your sock, and we respect that. And so true of a conscientious objector. He not only is asking that his attire be respected, but rather his very conscience be respected. And I think there's a place for that in a democratic society such as ours, which hypes and highlights the freedom of religion among other human freedoms. And so that conversation must be taken very, very seriously.